Fast forward, a Bank of Ghana financial and economic data for the period before May 2022 found MOMO subscribers had declined by 300,000 subscriptions, with 4,000 active agents thrown out of business prior to the implementation of a controversial e-levy. The figure dropped further per data from the Mobile Money Agents Association, and value of transactions also dropped by 2.8 billion cedis between March and April 2022. That notwithstanding, there are many more mobile money vendors still in business. Aside the physical attacks, there is also this: fraud.
Good afternoon. Hello, and thank you for calling MTN. Our calls are recorded for quality and training purposes. For English, press 1. For T, press. Open somehow a power account to we are 1.
So it's me, I know your name and how may I assist you?
I think that's your officer. But I'm your mobile money. Now, I was a fancy and I'm a transit camp when I'm here to see Madame Elias.
That's any time, Justice. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Madam Pacha, we need Mr. Anthony Pacha. Would anybody access?
Some of the vendors have already fallen victim.
Several times, even where I was working, one of my colleagues was a victim. They gave her steps to follow, so she was doing it, and she was sending money. I was at different places. She called me that she sent her money, so I sent her money, and she called another office. Then they sent her money, and she was sending it to them. By the time she realized all the money, everything.
Obi be friend say, obi friend customer say, one sending is kabinti, omra na ombe yiska no the code be man. Wa customer no so nima na oba nipa ni jan phone ni so.
They will call you and say you have won a promotion and ask that you follow some steps. Before you know it, your money is gone.
What transfer scale wo yen we su nyina ama wo. It's fraud no dey ekoso.
The last woman be buy say obey 2,000. Boy na nji sika no. Ni ehu ya ni say oseni oso obey obeseni.
One client came by the shop and asked my girl to send 2,000 cedis to someone. She later asked her to add 200 cedis more.
Before Obabeji scan was saying, yes, we were winning BB. So the people will send the money to her.
After the money was sent, we demanded the cash, and she told us she was waiting for funds from a promotion she had won. She later fled the area.
By 1,000 and also Obisu by 1,005. It say ebia nipa ni che wedwuma mu kakra before you feel comfortable. But would you new person the fraud need the year break kra enya de ketewa.
In the Ashaiman municipality, local authorities are having to re-strategize to deal with the crisis. The police, commercial motor riders and the telecom operators have been soliciting information from concerned groups in the area. The police, among others, wants vendors to adopt measures to reduce their risk levels, including closing before night falls.
The prevention and combating of crime is a shared responsibility, which the Ghana Police takes very seriously.
Ashaiman District Commander Superintendent Osman Al-Hassan has been leading some top police chiefs at an education forum.
We have from the district vehicle and motor, division vehicle and motor, and we even have some team that come from the national level to support or to provide security for you. It has not ended there. We still have the intelligence team that also undertake some exercise. So we do this intelligence exercise also to make sure that you have security. Aside that, we deploy foot patrols, Middle East Red Association, they can attest to that. And occasionally we also conduct sweeps, also to flash out criminals from the system. And basically, this is what the police do to provide you with security.
For the telecommunication companies, it is imperative to take the education to the areas where these attacks are endemic. MTN Accra East MOMO accounts developer Michael Edu says they are concerned about the continuous attacks on their agents.
As a business, we are very particular about the safety of our customers, because you know that they are the ones who make us who we are. Without our customers, we are not there. And our hearts goes out to people who have been affected one way or the other by these accidents. And I can tell you for a fact that the business is not happy that some of these things or some of these news would be occurring on our agents. So as a business, we've also taken it upon ourselves to regularly have meetings with these agents and then let them understand what is involved in the business. The people around them are their main security. What I mean by that is that if an agent is operating in an area and then he or she realizes that maybe around 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, the people who are also working around him or her have closed, then it means that he would have to close an hour or 30 minutes earlier before those people closes, so that it wouldn't be as if all the people will be gone before he or she will try to close. When that happens, you might reduce, the risk of people coming in and then attacking you. And then additionally, he shouldn't or she shouldn't be like the people around him are rather the threat or the suspect. The more you become closer to them, it becomes easier for you to be protected, because they are also interested in your well-being. And when they even suspect any funny thing or any suspicious thing, they would also alert you.
Sales executive for Airtel Tigo for the Ashaiman area, Nathaniel Awe, wants the agents to step up their alertness.
The point is, someone will ask what is really happening, what do I stand as a citizen to ensure that we prevent crime. What is happening is that customers especially are not doing the right of thing. The agents as well are also not doing the procedures as which we have engaged them to do. The key thing that any customer might or would walk into a mobile money vendor is for the person to come with an ID card. The ID card is just the key thing, because today if anything at all happened, both on the transaction, whether be it a wrong transaction, whether it is a criminal transaction, any other thing that happens, the first point of call is for us to, the police will definitely come and partner the telco in order to fight this crime. What would they request? If we have the ID card, we can trace to find out who and who is involved. Then the police can pick the investigation from there. So that is one of the key things. Another thing is, we keep telling these mobile money agents is that they should try as much as possible. Now we have a lot of technology. We have the CCTV cameras where they can be able to, try as much as possible to install some. And that way, once crime happens, the police, once they want to come and pick up and then do their necessary investigation, they can pick it up from there. And then once they do that, they will be able to ensure that the right or the criminal is being apprehended.
A lot of these attackers engage in other criminality. So when you see a mobile money vendor attacked somewhere at Ashaiman today, then tomorrow another happens in Kumasi, don't be tempted to think that these are two different groups. It could be a syndicate that is engaging in it. Not too long ago, there were similar attacks, including one at Pantama in Kumasi. When the police finally caught them, they got to realize that this same group is responsible for a number of other attacks outside of Kumasi. So I think mostly we need to work towards improving intelligence. So if we are able to infiltrate and break the syndicates, that can help. And that is why it is also critical that the police engages with these, mobile money vendors. And I'm pretty sure that almost all of them are part of, that organization. So we are able to train them to be alert and what to do and what not to do. Mostly, some of them feel lazy to go to the bank, so they keep their money. And some even display their money. Okay, and when it happens that way, the criminals easily notice and they come after you, and not much you'll be able to do.
But I want to say,
No,
that may you mobile money am be about life. When take a message be mobile money.
yeah.
And I take a phone of someone who says a message be about life.
I mean, me kwatao.
Where kwata? Now you have to take call.
I'll be a second man.
You've been at Kimau. Many fan of Pekit for phone man.
Yo.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, look at F1.
F1, la mobile machine.
F1.
F1. Who the change?
But I go back.
La cuckoo the change.
But I go out.
The phone my blind back.
On the issue of fraud, lead for financial crimes and anti-money laundering at the E-Crime Bureau, Eric Kweku-Mensah fears the phenomenon would continue as long as the mobile money industry continues to blossom.
Mobile money fraud has been very prevalent because, a lot of people have come to identify themselves with the mobile money system. And because of the convenience and the rest, we can see the numbers increasing. Even when you look at the statistics from Bank of Ghana, you realize that as of December 2021, we had over 900 billion volume or value of transactions. And I must say that that is the reason why a lot of criminals are also targeting the vulnerable ones on the platform. So I must say it is very prevalent, and we would have to be very cautious as individuals to be able to mitigate some of the schemes that come by the mobile money platforms.
E-Crime Bureau has done a lot of work in this area.
We've realized that most of the schemes are underpinned by social engineering attacks. And what I mean by social engineering attacks is that the criminals call you and try to deceive you to do something that ordinarily you wouldn't do. So you realize that the typical example, they call you and say they have transferred some money to your mobile money wallet and that they want you to transfer it back. And being good persons as we are, we will decide to, okay, let me transfer back to the person, only to get to realize that no, it was actually a scam. So all those attack schemes are premised under social engineering. Now, one thing we have realized is that they are not only targeting individuals, they are targeting institutions too, even the banks. We have had instances where criminals calling, impersonating the telco and telling the banks that they want to teach them how to do reversal of funds. And all these trends are very worrying. And I want to entreat that we are very cautious. Let's get to be abreast with the schemes that are ongoing so that we can be able to mitigate it. From analysis at E-Crime Bureau, we have realized that most of these alert SMSs that come from regular numbers. That is something that we have established. Majority come from regular numbers. So please, if you receive an alert from a regular number, know that it is fraud. And I know that the telcos have also put in some filtering mechanisms to be able to block such messages that come. Now, there are some advanced criminals that also are able to, mimic the ID and for it to look like it's coming from the telco. Please, when you get such messages, one best practice is to check if your balance have appreciated or your balance is still the same. That will give you a sense of, whether somebody has transferred money or has not transferred money to your MOMO account. So I think with a few tricks like that, you'll be able to counter it.
And I bet you have taken some of these fake transaction SMSs and calls lightly. Perhaps you may want to sit up and be alive to all the schemes that the fraudsters are developing. You would not be quick to follow any instructions to dial numbers in order to do a reversal or any other transaction.
We have given our agents the official number of MTN, which is 0244 300,000. So if an agent should save this number on his or her phone or agent number, immediately somebody calls him or her, he's at one time, alerted that no, this call is not coming from MTN. This is not my supervisor's number, and this doesn't come from the office. Then immediately his crime alert rate becomes very high. But if we don't save this number on our phone, which is the 0244 300,000, it becomes easy for us to fall prey to some of this crime. Let's imagine that you have rented an apartment from a landlord, and then one time somebody comes and knock on your door. That, oh, I've been sent by your landlord, so please open your door. And then you open, and then you are attacked, and then, robbed. Would you go and then take the things you've lost from your landlord? You can't say that, because your landlord never told you that I'll be sending somebody to you. You get it? It's the same way. We all need to be very, very careful. How can someone call me and then claim to be calling from my telecos, and then I just give in to the person, oh, do this on your phone, do that on your phone, and then I also do the same thing. So in as much as fraud is something that has become very prevalent in our society today, it is also a responsibility of each and every one of us to protect him or herself in a way that he also can.
Somebody called them in order that they have sent a wrong transaction into their mobile money wallet. We kept telling the agents and then the customers that it is the Airtel Tigo office or the Airtel Tigo that does reversal. It is not a customer who has to call another customer for reversal. No. Once you are sure that you have done the wrong transaction, you are supposed to report to the Airtel Tigo by dialing a helpline of 100. Once you dial 100, it's toll free. Once you dial, the customer service representative who are there who picks up this call and ensure that the reversal is done. And the reversal doesn't take long. It takes within 24 hours. Your reversal is done.
But what can these agents possibly do to minimize their risk levels? Some customers have been speaking.
Mobile money fraud, you can't do anything about it because people sit in the comfort of their houses and they conjure that thing or they orchestrate that thing. So for that one there, it's up to the telcos to, do something about it. But for the attacks there, if I'm a vendor there, either if I'm coming to work, either I buy myself a gun or carry maybe 32, 32 machete. Yeah, because see, the police cannot guide you. Probably the neighbors, unless you shout, and if the person is holding the gun, what will you do? You will succumb to the person's pressure. And so I think that they themselves should arm themselves.
They should give them a time that they should close, because maybe you can carry a gun or something, but you don't know how many of them who are coming to attack you. No matter how you are holding something that will defend you, the pressure the person is holding, and you don't know amount of them. So I think that maybe they should give them time. Yes, they should give them time for them to close, so that it can save their life. Because if somebody need money, you know that the vendor will close around 5. So you have to run fast. And it's like a bank business. So I think that if they give them time, it will help them.
But for the experts, a lot more than just alertness is required.
We will have to find a way to counter the social engineering attacks. And that would come handy when we are very security conscious. You don't sit down and someone calls you out of the blue and tell you that they are doing a promo or they have done some transfers to your account and you don't check your account. So if you are security conscious, you would be very much aware of these schemes. Now, very important is that we should keep our pins safe. Our pins are like gateways to our wallets. And right now banking has moved from the brick and mortar to, our phones and laptops and the rest. So our pins, our passwords, our codes should be secret to us. Aside that, let's be very conscious, especially those of us that have transactions linked to our bank accounts. Now you can transfer monies from your bank account to your mobile money wallet. I would advise that let's set alerts on our bank account so that anytime somebody makes a transaction, you receive that alert and know that something is happening on your account. And last but not the least, let's not share our pins with very close people. I know that sometimes, especially the illiterate, pardon me to say, they go to the vendors and then they give their pins to the vendors. They go to the vendors that this is my pin, help me do this transaction. When you do that, you end up giving, in fact, your whole account to the vendor, and the vendor can, defraud you.
I would have advised that they get shops and barricade themselves with a burglar proof. But not all of them can afford, and the profit margin is very low, especially at this time with the introduction of e-levy. Most of them are running out of business. These days, you want to pay using MOMO, people are not interested. Even shops, big shops, they are not interested in MOMO because of the taxes. And so it will be difficult for them to be able to establish themselves in shops. So the only thing for them to do is to be alert, to be conscious, because before these criminals attack, they place you under surveillance. So if you see someone loitering aimlessly around you, secretly taking pictures or videos, and behaving in a manner that doesn't just add up, don't ignore. you immediately have to get in touch with the security services. Every mobile money vendor should know 18555. 18555 is the number to call in case of emergency because it takes you straight to the police, okay? And aside that, as much as they can, they shouldn't keep too much cash on themselves. If they have to keep it in the bank when it's running out, then they go and pick it piecemeal. That would help because the robbers, they would come and check. If they realize you don't have enough, it prevents the robbery. But if they realize that you have so much cash at your disposal, then they engage in such attacks.
For the mobile money agents, at least they have made efforts to reach the police hierarchy over possible ways to stem these attacks. But none of those engagements at the national level have seen the light of day. General Secretary of the Mobile Money Agents Association, Evans Otumfo, is disappointed.
It's quite unfortunate that as at now, we have not been able to have that meeting with the IGP. I think on the 8th of November 2021, we have served the office of the current IGP an audience-seeking letter. As at now, we have not really received that invitation. But then the office of the IGP responded to our letter that, the IGP is currently engaged. And so as and when the IGP is free, we are going to be called. But the situation within the mobile money space, which has to do with the robbery attacks, is something that demands an emergency response. And so it is quite disturbing to us that as at now, we have not received that call. We will be doing another follow-up to the office of the IGP so that probably when we bring up the matter before him, he will see the agency and then the need for them to actually come on board powerfully to address the challenge of the robbery attacks on the industry.
For the lives lost from these attacks, they cannot be revived. Those who have been maimed forever. The attrition rate also continues to rise as residents in these attack-prone areas live on edge.
For the future of the mobile money industry, looking at the prevailing conditions, the record and then the data available suggests that if nothing is done about it, in the nearest possible time, a lot of people might lose interest in operating as mobile money agents. And when that happens, then it means that it's really going to affect, our payment system, our means of transacting for goods and services. Everything will be affected. So what we are of the view now is that no matter what, what attracts people into the industry is profit. And if I will come for something that at the end of the day, my life is also under threat or my life is also under attack, as a rational business person, I wouldn't want to continue with my investment over there.
Looking at the losses these attacks have caused and continue to cause these victims, their families, and their dependents, one wonders if it's even worth it at all, with all these MOMO agents under siege. Komla Adum for TV3 Assignment.